Have you ever wondered about the man who took the reins of the Roman Empire after the legendary Augustus Caesar? That man was none other than Tiberius Caesar Augustus, the second Roman emperor who ruled from 14 to 37 CE. Born in Rome in the year 42 BCE to a high-ranking military officer, Tiberius Claudius Nero, and his wife Livia Drusilla, Tiberius's early life was marked by tumultuous political shifts. Coming into power wasn't an easy journey for Tiberius. It was a path filled with strategic marriages, political maneuverings, and the shadow of his mighty predecessor, Augustus Caesar. But the mantle of leadership eventually fell on Tiberius, and he took on the Herculean task of leading the Roman Empire into a new era. His rule, filled with victories and defeats, would leave a lasting mark on history. Let's delve deeper into the life of this intriguing figure and the times he ruled. Tiberius wasn't the first choice to succeed Augustus Caesar, but destiny had other plans. Few might know that Tiberius, the second Roman emperor, was not the primary choice as the successor of Augustus Caesar. He was in fact the third choice, behind Augustus's biological grandsons, Lucius and Gaius. Tiberius was the son of Tiberius Claudius Nero and Livia Drusilla, Augustus's third wife. Although not a direct descendant, Tiberius became part of the line of succession when his mother married Augustus. His path to the throne, however, was not straightforward. It was a complex journey, filled with political maneuvers, strategic marriages, and a series of unfortunate events. Tiberius's ascension to power began with the premature deaths of Lucius and Gaius. These untimely losses left Augustus without an immediate heir, prompting him to look towards Tiberius as a possible successor. However, the relationship between Tiberius and Augustus was not always harmonious. The two shared a strained relationship, marked by periods of tension and disagreement. Despite this, Tiberius proved his worth as a military leader, earning the respect of the Roman legions and the grudging acceptance of Augustus. In a further twist of fate, Tiberius was compelled to divorce his beloved wife, Vipsania, to marry Augustus's daughter, Julia. This strategic marriage solidified his position as the heir apparent, but it was a bitter pill for Tiberius to swallow. Julia and Tiberius had a notoriously unhappy marriage, further souring Tiberius's relationship with Augustus. Finally, in the year 14 CE, after the death of Augustus, Tiberius assumed the role of emperor. His ascension was not without controversy. The Senate was hesitant in confirming Tiberius as emperor, and he in turn was reluctant to accept the title. However, in the end, Tiberius became the emperor, stepping into the shoes of the formidable Augustus Caesar. Thus began the reign of Tiberius, a rule that would be marked by significant events and controversies. His rise to power was a tale of resilience, strategic alliances, and the unpredictable hand of destiny. It laid the foundation for a reign that would forever be etched in the annals of Roman history. Tiberius's rule was a tumultuous one, marked by significant military successes but also by intense political strife. Tiberius ascended to the throne in 14 CE, following the death of his stepfather Augustus. His reign was marked by military victories and expansion of Roman territories, but his relationship with the Roman Senate was fraught with tension and mistrust. One of the significant military victories during Tiberius's reign was the consolidation of the Roman frontiers. He successfully strengthened Rome's borders along the Rhine and Danube rivers, quelling rebellious tribes and bolstering the empire's defenses. Tiberius's focus on consolidation and defense, rather than expansion, set a precedent for future Roman emperors and proved to be a wise strategy that contributed to the longevity of the Roman Empire. However, Tiberius's political policies were much more controversial. He was known for his stringent fiscal policies and his reluctance to spend on public games and entertainments, which was seen as miserly by the Roman populace. This austerity was a stark contrast to the lavish expenditures of his predecessor Augustus, and it did not endear him to the people. Furthermore, Tiberius's relationship with the Roman Senate was marked by distrust and antagonism. He was often absent from Rome, preferring to rule from his villa in Capri, leaving the day-to-day running of the empire to his infamous Praetorian prefect, Sejanus. This distance and his refusal to engage with the Senate led to rumors of tyranny and suspicions of his intentions. Tiberius's rule was also marked by a series of treason trials, which were seen as a means of suppressing opposition. These trials, often based on dubious evidence, led to the execution or exile of many prominent Romans, further straining his relationship with the Senate and the Roman nobility. Despite his military successes, Tiberius's rule was marked by political tensions and controversies. His reign was a complex blend of military victories and political strife, a period of Roman history that continues to fascinate historians and enthusiasts alike. Tiberius's reign was not just about political and military success. It was also a time of social unrest and upheaval. Tiberius's rule was marked by a series of societal issues that shook the very core of the Roman Empire. Class conflicts were a major concern, with the gap between the rich and the poor continuing to widen. The elites lived in opulence while the common people struggled to make ends meet. This disparity led to an inevitable tension between the classes, leading to a series of protests and uprisings that Tiberius had to deal with. Economic issues were another major problem during his reign. Rome faced a severe financial crisis, with the treasury depleted due to mismanagement and corruption. This led to increased taxation on the Roman citizens, further exacerbating the economic strain on the common people. The economic instability had a ripple effect, leading to food shortages and a decline in trade. Furthermore, public dissatisfaction was rampant. Tiberius was seen as a distant and aloof ruler, often absent from public life. His withdrawal to the island of Capri for the last decade of his rule only solidified this image. The public perceived him as neglectful of his imperial duties and indifferent to their struggles. This dissatisfaction was further fueled by the actions of Sejanus, Tiberius's trusted advisor, who was seen as a ruthless and corrupt figure. Tiberius was also criticized for his handling of the treason trials, which were seen as a tool for political persecution. This led to a climate of fear and suspicion, further straining his relationship with the Roman public. In the midst of these social issues, Tiberius found himself increasingly isolated and unpopular. His rule was marked by a growing discontent among the Roman citizens, a discontent that would eventually contribute to the instability and chaos that marked the later years of his reign. These social issues added another layer of complexity to Tiberius's rule and further strained his relationship with the Roman public. All reigns must come to an end, and Tiberius's was no exception. As the years rolled on, Tiberius's rule took a darker turn. His popularity, once strong, began to wane. The emperor, who had once been lauded for his military prowess and administrative acumen, was now seen as an aloof and detached figure. The later years of Tiberius's reign were marked by increasing paranoia and suspicion. He retreated to the island of Capri, distancing himself from Rome and its politics. His rule from afar gave rise to discontent and rumors of debauchery and corruption. The once respected emperor was now a figure of derision and scorn. But it wasn't just Tiberius's personal behavior that was causing unrest. His rule was also characterized by a heavy-handed approach to law and order. Draconian measures were put in place to curb treason, leading to trials and executions that further alienated the people. Tiberius's declining popularity wasn't helped by the loss of his son and presumed heir, Drusus, which left a power vacuum in Rome. This vacuum was filled by the conniving Sejanus, the commander of the Praetorian Guard, who had his own ambitions for power. But his reign of terror was short-lived. In a final act of paranoia, Tiberius ordered the execution of Sejanus and his followers, further deepening the sense of fear and mistrust that had come to characterize his rule. In the end, Tiberius's reign concluded not on the battlefield but in his bed. He died in 37 CE, leaving the throne to his grandnephew Caligula. His death was met with a mix of relief and apprehension as Rome braced itself for the rule of a young and inexperienced emperor. Tiberius's reign ended not with a bang, but with a whimper, leaving a mixed legacy that historians still debate today. His rule had seen moments of stability and prosperity, but it was also marred by paranoia, suspicion, and a disregard for the rule of law. Ultimately, Tiberius's reign serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of absolute power and the thin line between a leader and a tyrant. Tiberius Caesar Augustus a name that echoes through history, was a man of contradictions. He ascended to power following the death of his stepfather, Augustus Caesar, marking the beginning of a 23-year reign filled with complexities. Despite the tumultuous nature of his ascension, Tiberius proved a competent ruler, maintaining the stability and prosperity of the Roman Empire. However, his rule was not without controversy. His reign was marked by notable social issues, including political corruption and public unrest, which ultimately led to his downfall. His later years were characterized by paranoia and self-imposed isolation, leading to his eventual retreat from public life. Tiberius's fall from power was as dramatic as his rise, signifying the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. As we look back on his life and reign, we are reminded that power in all its forms is a complex and multifaceted thing. Tiberius, like all of us, was a product of his times.